We're back. We're going to continue our conversation about the dangers to our country that the Biden administration has clearly begun to manifest in a whole host of areas. We talked about them a bit with Sam Faddis and certainly with Scott Powell in our previous segments today. We're going to talk now with Mike McCormick, a man who actually worked with the Vice President of the United States back in the day, then Joe Biden. He was responsible for transcribing his official comments and was in lots of meetings with him and had first-hand insights into both the nature of the man and the business that he was about. And it's always good to catch up with him. Mike, welcome back. You're the author of Joe Biden Unauthorized, a searing memoir, I think it's fair to say, about Biden, and also have a fantastically important Substack product. Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil, you call it. And one of the pieces there came to my attention recently, in which you described some aspects of Joe Biden's agenda with the Chinese Communist Party that I want to have you share with our audience. First, welcome back. It's good to have you with us once again at Scaring America.
Thanks, Frank. It's great to be back again.
So let's talk a little bit about this Hollywood campaign and Joe Biden's role in giving the Chinese access to the sort of central font of our culture, some would say.
Well, I think one of the most disturbing elements of this Biden Xi Hollywood connection is the fact that significant events that occurred with Joe Biden, Vice President Xi Jinping at the time in 2012. They opened up Hollywood, but
Hmm.
significant events occurred after Biden and Xi had long one-on-one meetings with no one else in the room but interpreters.
Hmm.
They had a meeting in February 2012 at the Naval Observatory for several hours. Joe bragged about it incessantly. Just me and Xi in the room for several hours. Within a week, there was a major um, deal cut with the Hollywood studios through the Motion Picture Association of America,
There you go.
and that's headed by, at the time, was headed by Chris Dodd.
Mhm.
Um, so
Former senator, longtime colleague and friend of Joe Biden.
longtime colleague, friend of Joe Biden, very sleazy guy.
Very
You know,
sleazy
he's
guy.
had sexual harassment allegations made by waitresses printed in the Washington Post in the
Mm,
80s. He and Teddy Kennedy were
yeah.
pretty bad,
Cut
really
a
bad
wide
boy behavior.
swath.
The kind of
Yes,
stuff
indeed.
that would get him thrown out by the Me Too movement now.
Needless to
So he's a
say.
bad guy, but he's a Joe Biden pal, longtime ally.
Hmm.
So they get
And at the
together.
time, he was running this Washington office for the Hollywood industry, and
Right.
wanted again to get American motion pictures into the vast Chinese market, and were willing to accept China's terms, it seems, for doing so. No.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that comes out of these one-on-one meetings. So there were three major one-on-one meetings with Joe Biden and Xi. 2011 August, Biden goes over to China and starts this process. He's teaming up with Xi. 2012 February, they have this Naval Observatory one-on-one meeting, and that segues into this deal with Hollywood. And on the fringes is Dodd. Dodd's not really talked about there. I don't bring him up in my book. I have a chapter on it in my book. One person that is also on the fringe is Joe Biden's current communications director, Kate Bedingfield. She had left the White House in September or November of 2011 and started working with Chris Dodd. She was instrumental in this connecting Xi and Biden and Dodd together for this deal. She stays with the MPAA and Dodd. There's another email that I found. I just put this in my Substack, laptop, Midnight in the Laptop of Good and Evil. In 2014, Joe Biden, in April 2014, so this is several months after his 2013 December meeting with Xi, several hours together again. He sends an email from his office to Hunter Biden's office saying his Kathy Chung, his secretary, says to Hunter and Hunter's secretary, VP wants you to participate in meeting. The headline of the meeting was Senator Dodd at 1 p.m. Thursday, April 10th. That's Joe Biden asking for Hunter to participate. This is after Hunter has signed a $1.5 billion deal with, I think this Chinese People's Bank or something, a major organ of the CCP. So
Right.
this is, to me, really significant that they're using Hunter in policymaking right then and there.
Using him in deal making, I think it would be fair to say, not just policy making. And the deals, of course, were, again, to get Hollywood access to the China market. But what were some of the terms that were extracted for doing so? We hear a lot about the Chinese deciding what can be in these films, what the party line, if you will, of them will be, and if they don't pass muster with the Chinese, forget about it. You don't get in. I think things have changed a bit now. It seems as though the Chinese have got their own entertainment industry stood up, and they're less interested in having American films there at the moment than they used to be. But it does seem as though Hollywood was willing to sell out to the Chinese in order to get access to its box office. No?
Hollywood and China were major achievements for Joe. A really strong connection with Hollywood and China were major achievements for Joe Biden's political ambitions. In 2014, he wanted to be president. In 2016, he saw himself as that.
Mm-hmm.
So he has this meeting with Dodd. It's not clear that they had the meeting. I looked at White House visitor logs. It's not clear there's an actual entry time for Chris Dodd. What I think
Hey,
happened is they just turned him on a
Mike,
phone meeting, and
let
then
me
he got back to Hunter.
hold the thought on the meeting, if you would, and what came of it. We have to take a very short break. We'll be right back with more with the author of Joe Biden Unauthorized and his terrific Substack compilation, the good and evil in the laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop. We'll talk with Mike McCormick more right after this.